I think it's your outlook. Some people are given harder cards dealt to them, but like there's some people that I've met that have had some of the worst cards dealt to them, and they're some of the happiest people, and then there's some people that are dealt some of the luckiest cards and they're not happy people. So I think a lot of it is just like the way that you choose to perceive what's been given to you. I think I've been very lucky in my life. Not everything's perfect, but I feel like I've been given a lot of gifts in my life, and I have a good one.
I like to think in very simple terms. So there is a period of time from when you're born until you die. You're either in a positive state of mind or a negative state of mind from A to B. And I would say what dictates between a good and a bad is how much positive versus how much negative, and perhaps how much you can do for others in this world at the same time in a positive manner. Try to remember my place in this world, that it's way, way, way bigger than just me, and I really control an incredibly small fraction of what happens to me. So it's not about what happens to me, it's about my reaction to it, and I control that. I don't control what happens to me, I control my reaction to it. So within that, you can have a pretty positive life most of the time.
Perception, how you perceive it, what you make of life. I think you're given the raw ingredients, and really it's the individual how you choose to take the raw ingredients makes how you live your life.
A good life, I feel like someone learns from their mistakes, whereas a bad life, you just keep repeating your mistakes, knowing the consequences. So like just embracing your mistakes, but being able to learn from them.
Love, of course. Making an impact in whatever that means to you. And I think, just doing whatever makes you happy and figuring out what makes you happy, I think is the hardest part, finding your passion and being able to have the resources to pursue it. Well, one of my big passions is I'm an opera singer, actually. So singing classical music and taking lots of voice lessons my whole life, and have been supported by some of my best friends like Morgan here, who've come to so many of my performances, and just learning as much music and finding my musical identity. So that's my passion. That's what keeps me going.
Let me see. I had a lot of life lessons instilled in me when I was young by my parents. And probably one of the ones that I took away most was I kind of given my life in service. Like, I have such a passion of helping people, and I think that helps create a good life, just knowing that you can help somebody else create their good life too. So, yeah.
Being content, recognizing that you're happy where you're at, I guess. I don't know, sometimes I think it's nice just to take it easy and not think about what's next and just kind of cruise.
I don't know, one where you decide to live for yourself and achieve your goals, not anyone else's.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say pleasing other people is a bad life, but I know it's not a life that you would want to live.
Especially 24/7.
Exactly.
That would be brutal.
Yeah, I think ditto to that. Yeah, just having other people around you that are genuine and you can relax around them. It would really suck to have to be on 24/7 and you can only be yourself when you're by yourself. I would not be able to share that with other people. That would really suck.
What distinguishes a good life from a bad life? I think that satisfaction and joy probably distinguish a good life from a bad life. First of all, because we all want to be satisfied, but second of all, because only a life where you're truly satisfied is one that can be glorifying to God, and God gets so much glory from our trusting that He's the best thing ever, and that we can enjoy Him through His Son Jesus. So I think that's what makes it.
I think a good life is following what your inner voice is telling you to do instead of listening to the pressures of what other people are telling you, whether that's pressure from professors at school or just from society at large or people who have power over you in some way, but instead kind of really getting in tune with who you are and what you want in your life and following that dream.
A good life or a bad life comes from
who you are and like the mindset you have about something, because if like something happens, it's like don't let one bad thing ruin like your whole day or your whole life. If you just keep like moving on and you kind of like let the good things and the bad things happen, then you can have a good life like while having bad things happen to you.
Well, first it's health. I mean, your health, taking care of your body and, you know, making it last as long as possible. But I think that's the most important thing, that right there. I mean, if you didn't have your health, you have a very poor life. You know, your life is basically about, you know, staying alive or, you know, depending how bad your health is. But to me, that's the most important to me, would be the health aspect of it.
A good life from a bad life is following your own personal journey, wherever it takes you, however hard it is, to get to a point where you're happy with what you're doing in life. Yeah, I mean, I've done a few things in these past few years. I've hiked about 600 miles of the Appalachian Trail, you know. I ride a motorcycle and just trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing, you know, and what I want to do.
And I ride as well, so, you know.
So we both have our own motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're hoping to keep this up as long as we can.
Right,
I mean,
right. And that's, again, where health
we're in our
takes
late
it.
60s. So
yeah, and that's where health is
so
really at this point, you know.
Yeah.
And I tell Pam, I said, you know, it's only about, I don't know, not very long before we're 80, you know.
Yeah, so.
But I have a friend I met in Aiken, South Carolina, and he's 81, and he still rides his motorcycle and he does trips.
Healthy.
So,
oh my gosh.
So I'm like, you know what? I still have that to look forward to, you know.
Personal happiness, personal satisfaction, I guess, in your own life and your life's choices. I think I should have said satisfaction at the beginning. Satisfaction in that your goals have been reasonably achieved, that you are content with where you are, that you've accomplished what you want to accomplish, or that there is at least one thing in your life that makes your life feel worth living.
I think what distinguishes a good life from a bad life, because I think the way you're living it, in the sense of if you are doing all that you can or to make the lives of other people better. Because I think that I'm of the belief that if you make other people's experiences and lives better, that then reflects back onto you. Sort of like a, you know, give a little, get a little kind of thing. And so I think that if you live your life, even if it's not like going out of your way doing acting, because that's not for everyone. Everyone has their own limitations, whether it's like social anxiety, well, I want to help these people, but I can't face that. I think that if you're doing, even if it's just small steps, all you can to make other people around you happier, and to just sort of lift everyone's spirits. It's sort of like vague, but it's sort of utilitarian. Minimize human suffering, maximize happiness and enjoyment. You know, if you're going through life, you know, selfishly leaving people heartbroken or hurt in your wake, I don't know if I can necessarily, that's a very good way to live your life. I think that if you're trying to keep everyone safe and uplift everyone, you know, supporting those around you, those you care about, obviously, you know, we're only limited by the devices we have on hand, like, you know, our own bodies. But, you know, I just think that doing all that you can to lift those people up around you. Because, I mean, like I said, my greatest joy in life is people. So if I support those around me, I'm naturally going to find myself more fulfilled in what I do. So that's kind of my very basic, streamlined philosophy of it, is just lift up people around you. You know, it's not even like the small stuff, just like, hey, or even stopping here for a YouTube video, you know? Like, I didn't think I'd be doing this now, but, you know, what I'm going to do.
A good life is one that at the end of it, you have as few regrets as possible. Now, this is, you know, entirely independent of actions, whether you are truly doing good in the world or truly doing bad. That's entirely in the eye of history as it comes out to be. And so you don't entirely have the perfect control over that. So what the most important thing to do is to try and live with as few regrets as possible while still trying to accomplish as much as possible, both for yourself and for the world around you. Even just small things, if you do it in a day, if that at the end of the day you go, man, you know, I'm really glad I did that. That in itself is living a good life. You don't need to change the world dramatically. You don't need to topple mountains. You don't need to move entire buildings to be able to have a good life. It's a good life is about, you know, living honestly with both yourself and with the world around you. And truly, you know, if you think you're a good person and trying to do good things, then, you know, you pretty much are, even if things don't necessarily always work out. There's a difference between truly, being lucky in stumbling into good solutions, and there are some great people who've done amazing things for the world who've stumbled into the solution randomly. And so just because you're trying for something, if you don't happen to get a solution, that doesn't mean you're bad. That doesn't mean you're living a bad life. It doesn't mean you're not fulfilling your life. It just means, you haven't stumbled into the right solution. And so, maybe you're going about it wrong.